What's up, guys? For NFL fans, there are few things as annoying as a love-hate relationship with your team's starting quarterback. Half the time they look like stars and play at MVP-like levels. That's when you love them. And the other half of the time, they're just plain awful and look like they'll be out of the league soon. That, of course, is when you hate them. The word? Inconsistent. You don't get one or the other. There's no consistently great nor consistently terrible performances. These quarterbacks have simply displayed the best. And the worst. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present the 10 most inconsistent quarterbacks of all time. And a big shout out to Karri Lotz for suggesting this video. Thanks, Karri. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos every single day. Every day's new video, subscribe. Make sure to comment your video ideas down below. We'll be looking, and if we choose your idea, we'll give you a shout out in the video. Number 10, Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers' tenure as starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers can be described as a roller coaster. The Chargers have been up and down since he became starter in the 2006 season. Rivers, of course, led the Chargers to 4 straight playoff berths from 2006 to 2009. That was highlighted by a trip to the 2007 AFC Championship game, where they lost to the New England Patriots. Then the Chargers missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. Then they made the playoffs in 2013. Then the Chargers missed it the next 4 years. Then they qualified again in 2018 and reached the AFC divisional round. The Chargers have been very inconsistent since 2006, and Rivers is a key reason why. Yes, he's an 8-time Pro Bowler and led the league in passing yards back in the 2010 season, but his all-around production just hasn't been consistent compared to the likes of Tom Brady and Drew Brees. For example, he's thrown 15 or more interceptions in 5 different seasons now. That included 21 picks in the 2016 season, which by our count isn't very good. Rivers is usually good for over 4,000 yards a season, and his completion percentage is consistently around 65. But as Matthew Stafford would tell you, it's not about stats, it's about production. Some years, Rivers looks like a complete underachiever. Other years, he looks like an overachiever. What's the word for that again? Oh yeah, it's inconsistent. Number 9, Jay Cutler. Now, many disgruntled Chicago Bears fans love to hate on Jay Cutler. Smokin' Jay became a popular internet meme, and people simply love making fun of him for the way he expressed himself on the sidelines, no matter how good or bad he was playing. Thing is, Cutler wasn't really that horrible. The Bears just made a silly decision to give him a $126.7 million contract when he was coming off perhaps the best season of his career. Cutler had a Pro Bowl season in 2008 with the Denver Broncos, where he tossed 4,526 yards and 25 touchdowns. Without a late-season meltdown, the Broncos would have won the AFC West as well. Cutler was traded to the Bears for Kyle Orton in the 2009 offseason, and he saw some success in the Windy City. Cutler helped them reach the 2010 NFC Championship game, where they narrowly fell to the Green Bay Packers. 2 years later, Cutler guided the Bears to another 10-win season, but they missed the playoffs. Cutler was enjoying an excellent 2013 season under head coach Mark Trestman, but injuries forced him to miss 5 games. The next year, Cutler completed 66% of his passes and had 28 touchdowns. But again, Cutler simply didn't do enough to help the Bears win. Playing in such a big market with all that pressure seemed to phase him. He was overpaid and very inconsistent, tossing 227 touchdowns and 160 interceptions in his career. Cutler also fumbled 95 times, which is quite a lot in case you were wondering. Cutler wasn't all around terrible, but he was too on and off, which makes him one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks ever. Number 8, Tony Romo. Fair or unfair, Tony Romo was one polarizing quarterback, largely because of the fact that he had to play in such a tough and unforgiving market. Romo was never able to produce a Super Bowl for Dallas, which is how many football fans will remember him. The thing about Romo is that he was great for most of his career. He had a few MVP caliber seasons during his time in Dallas, and some very frustrating seasons that had fans calling for him to be traded, finishing with a porous 2-4 postseason record. And of course, people won't forget his costly mistakes in the final stages of the 2011, 2012, and 2013 seasons. In each of those 3 years, the Cowboys wound up losing the NFC East in Week 17. Romo didn't come through late in the season, when Dallas needed him the most. Romo threw for 4,000 yards 4 times and hit 30 touchdown mark 4 times as well. But he was always prone to the bad turnovers, throwing 117 interceptions in his 156 career games. Romo unfortunately missed the majority of 2015 and practically all of 2016 due to injuries, before eventually retiring. He never got that last chance to deliver a championship in Dallas. That all but ensures he'll forever be remembered as a sometimes great but sometimes terrible quarterback in Dallas. It was mostly good, but the bad was pretty awful as well. Number 7, Don Meredith. Meredith's NFL career didn't last that long. He played with the Dallas Cowboys from 1960 to 68, and there were plenty of ups and downs. He was a Pro Bowler for 3 straight years, and earned a second-team All-Pro selection. Meredith was strictly used as a backup until becoming the starter in 1963. He took the Cowboys to the postseason 3 times. They'd lose to the Green Bay Packers in the 1966 and 67 NFL championship games. That said, Meredith's production was, in a word, inconsistent. He posted a solid 47, 32, and 4 record as a starter, but had 135 touchdowns against a whopping 111 interceptions. Meredith never won an MVP award and never got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Number 6, Carson Palmer. The Bengals drafted Carson Palmer with the first overall selection in the 2003 draft. Some years Palmer performed like the type of quarterback you'd expect to be a top selection. Other years he would play like the ultimate draft bust. Palmer put up some good numbers in Cincy, but he was always prone to turnovers, and he was never really close to reaching elite status. He helped the Bengals win the AFC North in 2005 and 2009, but that was pretty much it. He just wasn't great enough to take some very talented Bengals teams very far. Palmer had a 2-year stop with the Oakland Raiders, but let's just say that organization regrets trading a first and third round pick for him during the 2011 season. Palmer revived his career after being moved to the Arizona Cardinals in 2013, where he flourished under Bruce Arians. But unfortunately, injuries derailed the 2014 and 17 seasons. Palmer retired with 294 career touchdowns, but a whopping 187 interceptions as well. He also lost 33 fumbles and compiled a mere 92, 88, and 1 record as a quarterback. Not quite consistent enough for a first overall selection. Number 5, Jim McMahon. Obviously, McMahon is remembered fondly in Chicago Bears lore. He was quarterback of the legendary 1985 Bears that destroyed opponents en route to a Super Bowl 20 championship. 1985 marked the 1 year McMahon was named to a Pro Bowl as well. McMahon added another Super Bowl ring as Brett Favre's backup with the Green Bay Packers in the 1996 season. But make no mistake, this man was never quite an elite MVP caliber quarterback. That's why he played for 6 different teams in his career. McMahon had 100 career touchdowns against 90 interceptions. He never threw for more than 2,392 passing yards in a single season. McMahon was good, but not great. It's that simple. Good thing the Super Bowl rings leave a positive legacy for McMahon. He won it, so still counts. Number 4, Joe Flacco. The Baltimore Ravens will never regret drafting Joe Flacco with the 18th overall selection in 2008. Together, he and head coach John Harbaugh led the Ravens to their most successful period in franchise history. Flacco had never put up great numbers in the regular season, but he took the Ravens to the playoffs in his first 5 years. This included 3 trips to the AFC Championship game. Oh, and Flacco and the Ravens won Super Bowl 47, and he was named the Big Games MVP after throwing for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. But of course, Flacco was carried by an elite defense and strong ground game during his 11 seasons in Baltimore, where he compiled a 96-67 record. That said, the numbers prove that the man was purely inconsistent. 27 touchdowns remains his career high. Step back in 2014. He's only thrown 25 or more touchdowns twice. Flacco has also thrown 12-plus interceptions in 8 of his 11 seasons. It's not exactly ideal, and he's only thrown for 4,000 yards once. Those are some very inconsistent numbers. But again, Flacco won so many big games when his team needed it the most, as evidenced by his 10-5 playoff record in Baltimore. We'll see if Flacco finds any consistency with the Denver Broncos, the team that acquired him in the 2019 offseason. Number 3, Terry Bradshaw. There was one thing that Terry Bradshaw was consistent at: winning. He was on hand for the Pittsburgh Steelers' 1970s dynasty that produced 4 Super Bowl championships. But everybody knows that the Steelers were carried by the legendary Steel Curtain defense. Bradshaw also had 2 of the game's most dynamic playmakers in Franco Harris and Lynn Swann, which helped aplenty. So let's be real here. Yes, Bradshaw was a winner, but he was not consistent. Far from it. Bradshaw was only named to 3 Pro Bowls in his 14-year career, and this was in an era where there was only so many great quarterbacks. Each season, his QB ranking would go from the mid to high 50s, to the mid 60s, to the mid 70s, to the low mid 80s. It changed all the time, just like his production. Bradshaw had 212 touchdowns against 210 interceptions in his career. That's not consistency, not even close. Again, you can strictly look at the individual accomplishments and Super Bowl rings. But Terry was not a consistent quarterback. Number 2, Joe Namath. Let's be honest here. Joe Namath simply isn't an icon in New York sports if he didn't lead the Jets to a shocking Super Bowl III victory over the 18-point favorite Baltimore Colts. Everybody thought Namath was crazy for guaranteeing a Jets victory, but he backed it up all right. The Jets won 16-7, and Namath was an NFL legend forever. Namath saw plenty of success in both the AFL and NFL. He was a 2-time AFL MVP award winner, and though he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Namath's stats certainly weren't Hall of Fame worthy. His career completion percentage was a wretched 50.1. Namath tossed 173 touchdowns against 220 interceptions. His record as a starter was 62, 63, and 4. Yeah, not your most consistent quarterback. But again, that one Super Bowl III victory was all Namath needed to cement himself as an NFL great. People sometimes forget that he was truly one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks of all time. Number 1, Eli Manning. Who else was going to be number 1? Come on. Eli Manning is the ultimate definition of an inconsistent quarterback. At times, he looked even better than Tom Brady. He was better than Tom Brady. He beat him twice in the Super Bowl. Other times, Manning mirrored guys like Mark Sanchez, Johnny Manziel, Nathan Peterman, and so on. It's not just that Eli is a 2-time Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl MVP. He's actually put up some solid stats. And let's not forget those 4 Pro Bowl selections either. But Manning has only taken the Giants to the playoffs 6 times, including only 1 appearance since leading them to Super Bowl 46 championship. And of course, let's not discount those 239 career interceptions. And his career record stood at 116 wins and 114 losses through his 2018 campaign. Really not all that enticing. It's safe to say that the Giants would have moved on from Manning years ago if he didn't lead them to those 2 Super Bowls. But as inconsistent as he's been all these years, the man has still reached the mountaintop twice. That's why he played the game. Most NFLers never even reached that point, let alone 2 times. So he's still Manning. Manning should definitely get into the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. He won 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, he's inconsistent, but like, come on. He beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. The only 2 times he ever played Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. He beat him. Hall of Fame. He also had somewhat solid stats, but we'll also remember him as the most inconsistent quarterback in the history of professional football. Which other inconsistent NFL quarterback should we have included on our list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every single week and they're really entertaining, so if you want more of me, go there. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes 1 click right down there. Smash that like button. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. My knee.
My knee.